Well, I think you guys uh, beat me, I should say, to the show because I was looking at things, getting things ready, and I saw a bunch of people pop into the channel right before I was about to pull the trigger. So good to see you already. I'm just making sure my headset is set up correctly because that's always fun to try to do that in the middle of the show. Hopefully everything sounds good, and welcome Daniel, Trooper Henry, and the one named Nestor. Appreciate you and Whiskey Ace stopping by. Good to see you there. I hope you're having fun tonight on Tasty Tuesday. Oh, I'm so thirsty. We are going to have a really fun show, I think. Malt Muser is going to be joining me here in a little bit, and we're going to be looking at the Glenmorangie 12 Malaga cask, 47.3% non-chill filtered ex-bourbon looks like as well. And then we've got the a tail of cake, 46%. I have not had either one of those. And finally, I'll be looking at the Glenmorangie 18, which I wouldn't call it their flagship. I guess that's more of a signet type of thing. And that's the tough thing about Glenmorangie I want to get more into, and the lack of age statements as far as once you get past, around 14 to 18, it's tough to find a 21. Good to see you there, Cohen, Silverlock, and Stephen Connor. Good to see you too, man. Already a full house. Let me get Malt his invite sent here. And this should be fun. Glenmorangie, as you know, is part of LVMH, which also runs Ardbeg, interestingly. One being Isla and Ardbeg. This one, ironically, is a Highland. It's interesting. I wonder why they chose these two particular ones. I mean, they both are powerhouses and have great teams behind them, but it's just interesting that they took one Isla and one Highland distillery. LVMH, I don't believe, controls any other ones. If you guys think I'm missing one, let me know. But doesn't seem like it. Oh, good, looking forward to the Glenmorangie talk. May pick up that Malaga soon. Got the Spias in the glass at the moment. That's one of my favorites, actually. And I wouldn't call myself a rye whiskey drinker because I didn't start there. I got my start there after Scotch, so I would consider myself like a novice to intermediate rye drinker. But that one was along the way was a good one. I really enjoyed it. I was lucky enough to pick it up when it first released. I guess it was a few years ago, and right when one of the Ardbeg, I think that might have been the drum year. I can't remember which year that was, but it was. It was a pretty decent rye, I thought, especially for a Scotch. You don't usually see Scotch distilleries try to do any type of rye whiskey like that. So it was kind of a good change. They're pretty good about trying different things. And if they don't succeed the first time, sometimes they get it right on the second time. Like a good example of that, from what I've heard, is the Astar. First release was kind of iffy, but the second release just knocked it out of the park. That's the Missouri Oak one that they do. They've done one, I can't remember when the first one was. I think it was a while back before, like, at least 5 years ago, I guess, maybe even more than that. And then they had one a few years ago. They released the Star again, and that one did pretty well, I'd say. 3 chats to decide from tonight. Oh my goodness. Let's see. My Bourbon Journey loaded a loaded local live stream. Okay. From Edmonton. Staying here to learn about Glenmorangie, Slanchavat. Sounds good to me. And who needs these guys when you've got Malt Muser?
Greetings.
Right, man?
Long time no see. How are you, Telex?
Pretty good, man. I was just commenting to Ben that he was saying there's 3 chats to decide from tonight. There's a My Bourbon Journey, which, hey to those guys. I don't know them, but I'm sure they're fine. And then a local live stream in Edmonton. I guess he's in up in Alberta, right?
Yeah, he is. He's in the Calgary area, if I'm not mistaken. What's up, Ben? Good to see you.
But I mean, who needs those guys when we got us two, right? I mean, that's just how it rolls on
Be
just
here or be nowhere, you know?
who else does Tasty Tuesday, right?
Yeah, man. They didn't even contact us to ask for permission to go on live on a Tuesday, which is, we might have to have a chat with those gentlemen.
We're just joshing you guys.
Yeah,
we're just being ridiculous.
How are you, buddy?
I have to get my two fingers out. I've been doing really well, man. I've been really excited about today for a while because even though I wouldn't consider them my favorite Highland distillery, they're up there in the top, definitely top three, I'd say, of favorite Highland distilleries. What's your feeling of Glenmorangie? Like,
Yeah.
I love the La Santa. I love the Quinta. I even love the Nectar Dower, which is their Sauternes series. What about you?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Glenmorangie as well. I feel like most of their whiskeys are hits, not misses. I feel like I've certainly had more Glenmorangies than probably anything outside of Lefroy. I like their kind of light, more kind of delicate, elegant style, but they do have some robust ones out there. Some of my favorite Glenmorangies is the private edition Spios, which was the edition 9, I think, which is the American rye matured one, which I think it's the best that I've had so far. I think the very small amount of rye matured or rye finished whiskeys in scotches for that matter.
I'm thinking. I wonder if for me it's close. Like I agree with you. The Spios was awesome. I might throw the Tisale up there on one of the top ones I've had. I haven't had a lot of them though. The Alanta I'd like to try, and some of the older ones, but that one is really good. Have you had any of the newer ones after the Spios by chance?
I haven't. I did not get my hands on the Baculta, and there was another one. Yeah, I haven't had any of the last two, but
I think it started with like an A or something, like a layer or
yeah. Alta, maybe?
Alta, yeah, I think that was probably it.
I didn't get a chance to that, but look, I think Glenmorangie puts out consistently good and interesting whiskeys. I think they do great finishes. Their base spirit, the Glenmorangie 10, when they just throw it another 2 years in something, I think you get a really good whiskey out of it. La Santa, Quinta Ruban. I haven't had the Nectar Dower, but I think that all of them have been hits for me. And then, the Astar, I think the 18 is a really good 18. They're all relatively reasonable price.
I think that's a really good price on that Astar. From what I remember, and this was a few years ago, I think it was even selling for like $100 pretty easily, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's about right.
I would grab that, Cohen, if you've had it and liked it, as I think it's a good price. But even if you haven't tried it, I would for $80. I think that's a no-brainer because you don't get that Missouri oak cask, just anywhere. It's not like a Oloroso where you can just pick it up, in a different version. So,
yeah, definitely, yeah. And the three that we're going to talk about tonight, I think are two of them in particular. I think are going to be winners. Another I'm really going to be interested in your response on, but yeah, look, I mean, they're Glenmorangie, a couple other little anecdotes about Glenmorangie if folks don't know. So they're known for having the tallest stills in Scotland, which is again what leads to kind of their more light, refined flavor, because most of the heavy compounds are not making it to the top and into the neck arm of those stills. So you get a really kind of light whiskey. And the Glenmorangie 10 is consistently one of the most consumed single malts in Scotland. It's usually the most consumed single malt or in the top 3. So, it's the I don't know what, the Budweiser, the Miller of scotches over there. People go to grab it. I can see why. It's super palatable. It's not, not offensive. It's probably the whiskey that you first taste over there, growing up. And so, yeah, Glenmorangie's they're good stuff, man. I think they make a good product. And, I'm really excited to get into the ones that we have tonight because these are going to be super interesting.
Yeah, did you have a preference on the order? I wasn't sure about between Malaga and all that.
I was thinking maybe we start with the cake.
Sure.
Before we do that, though, have you got any new whiskeys in the last week since we last talked? I know last week we both had a laundry list of new stuff that we had gotten.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I've picked up recently was the the ones that we talked about. As far as I'm just let me just verify that real fast because I did have a couple new ones maybe that you guys didn't know about. We have been discussing maybe doing some more shows in the future, and we picked up some really good stuff. One I'm really excited about is that Edgar Dower 21 Oloroso. That's going to be, I think, phenomenal. It's a really good,
right?
It's a 56.2 percent ABV and unchill filtered, not colored. It's extremely dark too, which I'm really excited about. And then a Speyburn 25, which is going to be interesting. I've had the 15 before, liked it. That one's going to be fun. Picked up the Old Pulteney 18, the new version. That's I've had in a tasting and enjoyed it, but it was a really quick thing, and I want to make sure that the entire experience is pretty good. And then the finally the Linkwood Flora and Fauna 12 we'll be taking a look at later down the road at some point.
Oh yeah, man, those sound like some fantastic pickups. Yeah, we'll definitely get a chance to taste some of those on the show.
What about you?
For me, well, I got the Glen Grant, 18 years old.
Nice.
Looking forward to this. I think this will be a fun one. I know that we're going to have a Glen Grant show relatively soon. Two others that I'll mention. The Bunnahabhain, this is the limited edition PX. This is from 2000. I don't know what year this is from. 2005, 2004. It's a 14-year-old PX finished.
That's so good.
Bunnahabhain release. Yeah. Looking forward to diving into that for sure. I also got my hands on this is a Deanston.
Ooh.
The Deanston Organic 17-year-old PX finish.
Hold on, that's a mouth opener.
Yeah, Deanston Organic 2002 17-year-old PX finish.
Oh man, I didn't know you picked up that thing. Jeez.
That one, yeah. And the other thing I got is an Ardbeg Corey Vrecken from 2011.
Ooh, I bet that's a spicy pepper.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. So I decided to splurge on that. Oh, one other. Compass Box, the 20th anniversary. It's the Hedonism Felicitas, which is like a 53% hedonism with a couple different barrel finishes. It's supposed to celebrate Compass Box's coming out party as 20 years since hedonism. So that one should be a lot of fun, and we can look at tasting that. There's only like 2,000 bottlings of it, so I'm really excited that I was able to get my hands on that.
That one's their grain one, right? The hedonism is the grain one, I think, right?
Yes, the single grain. Yep.
Okay, that's one that I enjoyed it, but I think a lot of other people will probably enjoy it more than myself because I'm not the biggest grain fan. But for grain whiskey, that was one of the better ones I've ever had. I will say that. So that tells you something.
Yeah, and I think it's like the only single grain whiskey that exists. There might not be any others as far as I know. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I had grabbed. Oh yeah.
There's a few. There's North British, Cameron Bridge, Canvas.
Oh, you're right.
I'm trying to think. Invergordon, and I'm trying to think of. I might be missing one or two, but but you're right. There's only like a handful of those kind of guys left that do the single grain thing. Gervon's like the worst. I think I can't drink that stuff, man.
There were two others that I picked up, man. I've just been kind of doing nuts lately. So we talked about this last week. So I finally freaking did it.
Oh, you got the 15 single barrel.
15 single. And so I looked, I know that there's the whole like first fill, second fill thing. This baby is dark as hell. This is definitely a first fill.
That's got to be a first fill, yeah.
Yeah. So I finally grabbed that. And then the Glendalough Irish 13-year-old Nara, which is freaking killer. I was just drinking this on the happy hour. Man, you need a sample of this in your life. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't mind, throw that in. I'll try to get us something that is like, if you're not opposed to it, maybe. I've never tried a Connemara, but I thought about maybe picking up a Connemara.
The peated one. Yeah, there's a 12-year-old that I think would be a lot of fun to try.
Okay, I'll see if I can try to find that one. If you don't mind, send me an email and remind me, or at least
Okay, sure.
a text message just to remind me to take a look for that, because that hopefully shouldn't be that bad of a find, you would think, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Have you tried to look for that one before?
No, yeah, you'll be able to find it.
Oh, okay, good. That sounds good. Looks like Trooper's got the one in the Stark as well. Yeah, that's a really good whiskey. I love the 15 Balvenie, man. That one I wish was not so expensive, but it is worth every penny.
Indeed. All right. Well,
Let's see here. I already
now
poured a
we get
little bit
into
of,
it.
yeah, I already poured a little bit of that earlier, so I will let you do your thing, and I will kind of observe as we go along here.
All right. Here's the deal. Tail of the tape on the tail of cake. Here's the bottle.
Interesting.
Here's the box. An absolutely stunningly cool looking box and bottle. I mean,
wow.
This is just awesome presentation.
You can't see that at the liquor store, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. So here's the deal on this. This is a NAS whiskey. It was a limited release last fall. 46% ABV. If you look in the small print on the back, it does mention that it is non-chill filtered, which is awesome. However, I think it's not natural color. It is an NAS. And so the story behind this is that it is finished in Tokaja dessert wine casks, which is a Hungarian dessert wine.
Oh, wow.
And this is basically designed by the distiller, by basically the master whiskey creator over there, Dr. Bill, who was, reminiscing. In fact, it says he was musing about his joyful childhood experiences with cake, his mom's, the pineapple upside down cake he used to make with his daughter, working in the kitchen with his grandmother. And so he put together this whiskey as an homage to that. This is a limited release, as I mentioned. It does say non-chill filtered. About $100.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so that is the tail of the tape.
And this is not a private edition. This is kind of just like a one-off thing that they did for 1 year, right?
Yeah, this is a one-off thing. So, feel free. It's my pour, so you can start with the nose.
Oh, wow, man. This is nice, very nice of you. I really appreciate it. I love the fact that it's 46%. I'm looking at the viscosity, that kind of the way it holds its shape. It actually holds its shape fairly well on my glass. It's running pretty slow. Ooh. It's funny. I hope it's not just because you said the word, but I definitely get pineapple as like one of the first things I get off the nose. But it's kind of more of a pineapple combined with like a sponge cake. Really heavily buttered, really frosted. Even some lemons in there, like a little bit of citrus lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some oranges. Get a little bit of florals. No brininess. I'm not getting any like overly salty notes on the nose. It might be on the palate, but nothing briny or no maritime seashell stuff going on. Nothing like that. I have a feeling there's going to be some white pepper on the palate just from the nose, but I could be off on that. We'll find out later. But it definitely has like a bright nose to it.
Yeah.
Very sweet. It has like a pixie dust kind of a smell to the pixie stick smell too.
I think you're totally right on. I mean, I don't have much to add to the nose other than white chocolate. All in all, it's a relatively decent nose, I think. It is. It's incredibly sweet. I will mention, we'll finish tasting this and then I'll mention something that you find on the back in the small writing on this when we're done. But yeah, all in all, like very sweet nose. Again, it's like it's kind of light. It's got some frosting, vanilla. There's a little bit of a kind of tropical fruit thing going on. A little bit of spice.
Even some cherries, I think. Maybe some like it's the sweeter, like the maraschino cherry to be specific.
Sure. And again, though, you do get a bit of that signature Glenmorangie in this, that the oranges, the honey, the kind of barley sugar.
Yeah, I just, one thing I do like about the nose on this versus like the basic 10 is this one has definitely got more of a sweetness to it, so it balances out all those florals that you get off the basic make of the 10. So that, to me, the nose is kind of a up with that part of it, at least. It is pretty sweet though on the nose, even for me, and I like a sweet dram, but it's already really sweet on the nose.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm gonna have to sip.
Happy Tuesday.
Big time. It hits a little hotter. I'm surprised. I didn't have a warm-up dram, though. That might be just my fault. But surprised that it's, 40. I guess for 46, it's pretty spot on. A lot of citrus off the top. Oh my! I still do get a bit of that sponge cake kind of taste too, but There's a little pith, but it's not overly pithy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's a bit dry on the finish for me, but let me have another sip. What about you in the palate?
Yeah. Sweet, cloying, vanilla frosting, buttermilk like buttercream frosting. There's a little bit of a slight pineapple thing going on, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg.
Do you get apricots at all, like a big apricot?
It's hard for me to tell. It's not a dried fruit, which I tend to feel like apricots tend to be. I always think about them as a more dried note than oranges. I still kind of am in the orange, that kind of Glenmorangie orange wheelhouse on that.
For some reason,
I see what you're saying, because it's a little bit more earth. It's not as sweet as an orange, maybe.
Maybe I know more like a clementine or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I noticed, however, that it for me, it's a relatively short development.
Yeah.
Relatively short. It's like a short medium finish, and I'm left with kind of just, again, like almost like a light, like cafe mocha. Not even that I actually say it's like just like whipped cream with a little bit of chocolate on it. It's really light milk chocolate, but sweet, kind of a vanilla whipped thing. There's a little bit of that buttermilk. There's a bit of that citrus and fruit, but it hangs around, but it's not at all super interesting. At least for me, it's kind of just there and sticks to the mouth pretty well, but
yeah,
short, medium.
For me, yeah, it's I'll agree with you on the short finish. To me, it is very short. To me, the only thing I might disagree on you with is to me, I get a lot of like dryness from this, where it feels like a dried apricot in the finish for me.
You're talking about the finish. The finish is definitely drying. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm sorry, I neglected to mention that. To me, it's like it's not as much apricot as it is like dark bourbon notes, like bourbons, like a oak char.
Yeah, the wood is almost coming through too much on the finish. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not bad. It's funny because it's, to me, like the nose is like pretty good actually, and you start out like with a lot of promise, and then you're still good with the initial palate, but once you get like past that initial palate, it just starts to like kind of fall apart.
Yeah, it drops off pretty quick for me too, and I will say that for what it's worth, what you're drinking right now is probably about half. I poured that. It was about a little less than half open. When this off the neck pour, I found this to be even more kind of drying and disjointed. I
Oh
think it's
wow,
a lot better with oxygen. I mean,
that's a
it
good.
wasn't bad, but it's like I just feel like it mellowed out a little bit more.
Yeah. No, that's a great point because there are lots of whiskeys out there that I first opened, and initially it's like, what the hell did I just buy? And the great prime example of that is that Kalila 17 unpeated. I hated that whiskey when I first opened it, but thank God I was patient enough to let it oxidize, because after just a little while, it definitely got a lot better. It went from like a 2.25 out of 5 dram to a 4.75 out of 5 dram. It was tremendously different.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I mean,
you never know.
People who don't add water to things or give it its time, I'll never quite understand that, you know.
The nose on this is fantastic, I have to say. Like, I'm going back to the nose, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's actually a damn good nose. Maybe it. I'm gonna try a little bit of. Where's my water? Oh, it's way over there. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
One second.
While you do that, I'm just going to show off again, like just how like freaking awesome this like Technicolor kick-ass Glenmorangie packaging is. I mean, come on, right? Like this looks good on any bar. I'm sorry, it just does. I don't know what you think about the name, but this bottle looks great. I love Glenmorangie's very kind of like elegant champagne-like bottles, anyways. But this packaging is just top notch. They did a great job with this.
Yeah, I have to say that usually I'm not much for crazy marketing, but I understand the concept and why it's necessary. But they did a pretty good job with this, because you on a dream like this that's a one-off, you kind of have to go crazy on it.
Right.
Get people to be interested in even trying it, you know. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had my water way over there, and I forgot to put it over on the table. But I just put like 2 little bitty drops with the pipe on it, just to see what we might get. The viscosity of the dram's pretty decent, and one thing you have to give them a little bit of props for is getting it to 46 and not 40 or 43.
I'm with you on that.
But I will agree, man, that initial palate after that, it's not as bad as a train derailment, but it's pretty floppy.
It just drops off too damn quick, I think.
Yeah, it's almost like you're going over the roller coaster, where it goes inward, and instead of going out and having your fun, you just keep going in forever.
I mean, I don't know how they put it in these Tokaya wine dessert wine finnet casks, but like, or you think you could throw an 11-year-old age statement on this? Just use the Glenmorangie 10. I mean, they had to have just used the Glenmorangie 10, right? Did they have younger than that just sitting around? I mean, maybe for some of their NAS releases, but like, boy, you think? I mean, could it have really? I mean, it's $100 bottle as is.
I have a bad feeling here. What happened is, I think you almost nailed it. Where I think you've got like a 5 to 6 year old, maybe 7, that they took that and then matured it to around, maybe 8 or 9 years and released it, instead of taking the 10. And if they did use the 10, I'm not sure if they can get the ABV a lot higher, but at least get it, with the 10, and then maybe have it in these casks for a couple of years as a 12. That would have maybe made it a much better whiskey.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm not sure if that's possible with how this is made, though, because this sounds like they had a great cask they spent a lot of money on, and they thought, well, I spent all this money on this cask. Surely we don't have to use our 10-year-old stuff. We can use our 5-year-old stuff and just, put it for 2 years, make it 7, release it as an NES, and be okay. That's probably what they did. I'm guessing on this, though. That's what it kind of tastes like. What about to you?
It's hard to tell, because I think the overcoat of those dessert wine cask is so strong. I think where you notice that this is young is in that development, and how it just, I mean, you're like, it doesn't sustain very long. I mean, you're talking maybe a 4 maybe a 4-second event before it really kind of just starts going down. And you don't get that second surge. You get a little bit of spice, but you don't get that extra surge of energy in it. And to me, that just kind of says what it says.
For me, after a couple of drops on the nose, it brings out more of the florals for some reason. I'm getting a lot of like more of the honeys and the flower.
I mean, it does seem to tame down the heavy sweetness, but to me, it just kind of is going in the honey, like you were saying, honey, slightly floral, the sweet maltiness of a Glenmorangie. That orange is still there. I mean, omnipresent.
Huh. More florals on the face on that one, yeah.
Yep.
Palate-wise, wow. It brought more of a spice kick, which is kind of nice, but it brought out the sweetness is gone. And now it's really gone. It's like it had this great pop of spice, and then it's like that's all you get. That is so weird.
Yeah, and again, the almost overly oaked dark chocolate, bitter dark chocolate tannicness of this is just kind of beguiling, man. Like I don't quite understand where it's coming from. Like they must have used some. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what to say about it.
It's got to be the oak, I guess, and since they used 4 or 5-year-old stuff versus the 10, maybe it's just so young that the oakiness is just gonna pop more. That's my guess, but
yeah.
See, I never had this Takahi dessert wine before, so I don't. Maybe that's kind of what the stuff tastes like. I wish I could have a little bit of it just to sample what it's like raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
But that might be just the way that they like their. I know it's not port, but like port type wine, where if it's a dessert wine, it's got to be kind of either like mead or port, right? You would think.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a finish after the water. I'll give it that. I get more of like it's kind of like a combination of like, I want to say green apple and man, what is that? Like
You're right. But there's something tart too. It's
yeah.
Almost like grape. It's almost like a white grape or something.
You nailed it. It was funny because I was trying to think of it's some sort of grape, but I can't think of what it is. But it's like a sour white grape.
Yeah.
With that green apple kind of feel at the end. I mean, that's kind of nice to have, but I'm not sure if it saves the experience. Because it's really still really dry. Man, it's like I had a mouthful of sand.
A tale of sand.
I'm not sure I'll go that crazy on them, but I mean, it's not a bad experience. It's just so different than I thought the second half of the experience was going to be. Because they got me in. They locked me in with the hook on the nose was great. And then that first initial palate was pretty damn good too.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of that Macallan 18 that you and I differed on last week, where I was like, the nose is great on every Macallan, but then it was like, I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that. You feel like you are ready to give your final thoughts and a score on this one, or do you want to wait a little bit longer?
I'm gonna have one more quick, just kind of go with neat because I did it with the water.
Do it.
And I'm pouring a little bit more, just neat to see.
So while he does that, I want to share something with everybody here because my feeling when I was upsold this by my good friend at the liquor store, and what I think everybody else's general sense is that this is going to taste like a freaking cake. Here's what it says. The liquid is a rich copper, but the taste is pure technicolor, luscious, sweet, and complex, with multi-layered bursts of honey, white chocolate, and fruits, with a lilting of hint of mint. As you might expect, it tastes incredible when enjoyed with actual cake.
Oh,
Oh, so it's not that the whiskey's going to taste like cake. It's that it's supposed to pair well with cake. That's my read here. So take that for what it's worth, y'all. A tale of cake is you're supposed to, when you, and I suppose, I mean, everybody has cake every night, right? So when you're sitting there with the birthday sheet cake that you picked up at the local supermarket in the discount section, you'll have a nice single malt to pair with it. So yeah, that's the interesting thing, and it's of course written here really, really small here. My guess is most people would think that this is going to taste like cake. It says here, a sweet multi-layered whiskey, lusciously reminiscent of cake. But then on the description itself, it talks about how you're supposed to be drinking it with cake. So
that's wild, man. I was like you. I thought they were going to market it like it was supposed to taste like it.
I mean, they seem to get up to the line, but they don't seem willing to make the full commitment. So,
and the same thing with the experience. Like they got me there with the nose. The nose tells me this is going to be like an outstanding 4-star experience. It really does have a 4-star nose for me. But once you get to the palate, it starts out as like a 3.5, and then it just goes down to a 2. Like right after that, and the finish, it doesn't pick up any steam. So I'm kind of like, oh man, this is going to be really a tough one to score, I think.
Well, it was my pour, so you get to go first, my friend.
Wow. That, like I said, the nose is a 4. The initial palate was like a 3.5 still, but then they just took me down to a 2 with the finish. But man, I'm having one more sip. Like with and without water, it's got glimmers of greatness, but man, after that last taste was a good long one, but it's still short on that finish, man. They are not going to give you more of a finish, no matter how you look at it. I'm going to say that. It's still above average, so I'm not going to give them below a 3. But with that finish, that's as rough as that is, man. Yeah, I might have to take it down a bit. I might have to go down to like a. I'm sorry, guys. This is a little rough. I'm gonna say 2.75. I think on this one. It's just not. It's just not there. I might even think 2.5. I'm kind of talking myself down even more. Let me think for a second.
Fired by Telex the Whiskey Tech. He is not feeling the cake.
This reminds me a lot when I had the Bunnahabhain Kjabernak, which is one of the repeated offerings, and it started out fantastic on the nose. And on the initial palate, I had this great orange creamsicle with peat and that Bunnahabhain goodness, and everything was glorious. And then when I was ready for that fantastic finish, it was not there. So, I mean, for me, yes, the nose is important, and of course the palate's important, but the finish in a whiskey to me is just as important as the top 2. Yeah. So to me, it's like a 3-pronged experience. And then the water is like a bonus. If you get like a different nose palate finish with water, it's almost like 3 possibilities of a good bonus there. This one's got hits and misses on both neat and with water, and that's where I'm kind of struggling on how to grade this. But it's definitely got to be below average because of the finish. And with that said, I'm going to stick with the dryness factor, no age statement. It's probably got coloring. I do like their ABV. I do like that they have a great cask on it, but I'm going to say 2.5, man.
Right on.
I'm sorry. It is a good experience.
No, you don't got to be sorry to me.
I just feel bad.
I'm the one who bought the damn thing.
It's a good bottle as far as like if you want a quick sweet taste. It's just if you're looking for a finish, don't stop at that one.
Yeah. So I'll roll into my final thoughts, and I did review this last week. If you want to check out my full review, you can. It is up on the Malt Muser Whiskey Review channel. I'm mostly aligned with Telex. I mean, this is it's unique. I can't say that I've had anything quite like this before. I think it could have been a lot better. Again, what Telex is identifying as the shortcomings of this bottle, I totally agree with. The finish leaves a lot to be desired. The development is short-lived. In that sense, it's a bit disappointing. But the first half of it, I think, is really pretty great. The nose is really good. The initial palate, I really enjoy. I was wondering if having this was going to change my score on it. It hasn't. The price, I think, is just not what it needs to. I mean, I just, this is a whiskey. It's a special release. It is what it is. Around $90 to $100. I think that's too much. But I think that I commend them for like trying something like this, and I don't think it's all in all bad. I just think it doesn't quite deliver. I'm going to be generous and stick with my 3 out of 5 on this one, because I do recommend you try before you try this, or pick it up if you see it cheap. But I very easily, my debate when I reviewed this was between a 2.75 and a 5 and a 3, and I think I gave it the tick up just a little bit because I think the uniqueness of it carried it through. But the shortcomings here are evident, and I just don't, for the price, I just don't feel like this is a pour you need to have in your life. So 2.5 out of 5 from Telex, the Whiskey Tech, 3.5 out of Malt Muser, and that is the tale of the tale of cake. And with that, I have killed the bottle, so it is gone. I don't have to drink any more of it.
Yeah, if that sucker was like around 65 to 70, then I'd say I would be more inclined to jump on it. But at $90, man, if I can get an Ugadal for that price, you better believe you know where my money's going to be going to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Jasper, where it's at? Uh-oh. Oh, I guess they're going on a Canadian Park spree. Interesting. But that was still pretty good, I had to say. I mean, I do like, even though there wasn't much of a finish to speak of, it has a slight, nice kind of spongy thing still aftertaste. I wouldn't consider it a finish, but it's got kind of a kind of a nice ending to it. But I don't know, man. It's so short. But hopefully, next time I do something like that, there'll be a little more. I think what might have made a bit of a difference in our what's the word for it? Our expectations. If they didn't market it as a, I guess they were clever to say a tale of cake instead of a taste of cake. But every time I see it, I think taste of cake whenever I see that bottle. So it's really tough not to think this is going to taste, a red velvet cake, or at least a cheesecake or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. So there you go, folks. I don't know, for folks who've had it, if you disagree with us or don't or agree, it's here's what it is. I got this bottle for $90. I like Glenmorangie. I couldn't not do it, and it ain't a repeat buy, no doubt about that. But
yeah, I have to say, Andrew, I was not a fan as much as the Kyabanak, but I do love the Choi Chek Ahada. That one is the second release. The first Choi Chek I was not a big fan of either, to be honest with you. I kind of equated it to like a Lagavulin 8 experience without being as good as the Lagavulin 8 on the first Choi Chek. But that second version that has the sherry influence in it, that one is to me maybe not as good as an Ugadal, but the closest thing you're going to get to an Ugadal that Bunnahabhain probably ever releases, unless they really surprise me with something. I mean, their 18 kind of has some of that feel, but it doesn't have the peat like the Choi Chek Ahada has. So hopefully, have you ever had that one yet, Malt?
I've not had either of those yet, unfortunately. But I wanted to. The only heavily peated Buna I ever had was the Krokvana, which is a travel exclusive. Pretty good.
I agree.
Solid stuff, to be honest with you.
I agree. If you like that, if you like that one, I think you would like the. I'm not sure if you like the Kyabanak, but I'm pretty sure you would like the Choi Chekada, the Aha, the second one. That smoky version, basically.
Yeah.
Make sure I pour it here.
Yeah. Well, let me set the table for this next one. You know, like I said, we got three going tonight, so looks like we're gonna just jump right into it. Now, what we got going here is the Glenmorangie 12-year-old Malaga cask finish. It is part of their Barrel Select release. It's basically a bunch of small batch stuff that they're doing. From my understanding, this looks to be a Total Wine exclusive. This was put on the market right at the same time as the Tail of Cake, but I'll tell you, I never heard a damn thing about it. But I stumbled across it when I was out in Los Angeles, and I was like, what is this? So here's the tail of the tape on this one. Non-chill filtered, this is 47.3% ABV. It is 12-year-old age statement, and it is finished it is 8 years ex-bourbon and 4 years first fill Dolce Malaga casks. But Malaga is essentially a Spanish wine that's basically a hybrid of the very sweet PX and the very much more drying, deep-flavored Oloroso. You will not find a lot of Malaga cask finished whiskeys. I believe the one that comes to mind that I think of is the Yellow Spot, which is a 12-year-old Irish whiskey. But this one is checking all the boxes. We got a higher ABV. We got non-age statement, or we got an age statement. We got non-chill filtered. All sorts of good stuff going on with this.
So you think the only thing you weren't sure about was the coloring part, right?
Yeah, they don't mention anything about color, so hard to say. But
one thing that I will give Glenmorangie credit for, even though they're like kind of like Lafroig, where they do color a lot of their stuff, it looks like I don't think they ever do it to deceive you like some other distilleries do. I think they do it just to give consistency. Because when they do, if this is a colored dram, they're to me they're using like the minimal amount to make it look just kind of like a regular gold color.
Yeah, I mean it looks very like bourbon.
Yeah.
So that's the tail of the tape on this 12-year-old Malaga cask. Price range, you will find this anywhere from around $75 to $85.
That's cheaper than I thought you were going to
say. Cake, and presentation-wise, a lot more of a craft whiskey, and one of the more craft presentations I've ever seen out of Glenmorangie. Here's what the color's looking like on this end. I mean,
it's cheaper than I thought you were going to say.
Right? I'll be curious to see what you think this could go for after we taste it. But yeah, whenever you're ready, man, happy to let you go with the nose on this. And
oh wow, you sure?
Yeah. My pour, you start.
All right, man. Well, let me give it a look. See here. I love the fact that they're going 47.3. It's like not only are they going beyond the 46, they're going beyond the 47 a little bit for you. I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You've got the 12-year stage statement, like you said. I mean, you've got the great different cask that you don't get anywhere else. I've never had a Malaga cask because I never had the Yellow Spot before, so this will be my first time, experiencing it. And the no chill filtration too is a big plus. So they're getting bonus points right off the bat.
Indeed. Very, very positive label on the bottle of this one. And it does not come in a box. It only comes in the bottle, which is an interesting little anecdote. But yeah, from what I understand, this is a Total Wine only release. So you probably need to find your local mass market Total Wine in order to even get your hands on this.
Oh, wow.
And as you may have, if you saw my review and after this, you'll know whether or not you should. That's for sure. Oh, yeah.
That's an interesting nose, man. That's got like it's funny because I usually always like to give like a first impression note. This one, it kind of came at me from multiple directions at once, so I wasn't really able to pull out one specific note right off the bat. That's kind of interesting. That's the first time that's happened in a while. It has a really nice, almost, I mean, it's hard to say it smells like it aged, but it does have a well-aged nose on it.
Mustiness, almost. There's a little must to it.
Yeah, the first note I would describe as almost like an antique store with I know it sounds crazy, but it has like a musky antique store, but pleasant. It's not an off-putting nose by any means. It's not fruit, but it's some sort of sugary. Maybe it's like a fig. There's like a figgy something going on. Wow, this is so different than any nose I think I've had in quite a while. It's dark. It's got some darkness to it, but it's still sweet. Is that like? It almost reminds me of root beer in a way, which is kind of weird. Like a sassafras. It's got like a sassafras kind of root beer, but it's also got some tea bags. It's getting lighter now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I get a lot of like it's dark. It's like raisin, like a berry, some type of like dark berry jam, like a mixed berry jam.
Yeah,
the
like
notes are in there. There's some citrus.
Like a dark date. Yeah.
Yeah. Freaking incredible nose.
It's got some florals going on too, which are interesting in the background. And some citrus even on the nose.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. It's like it's changing in a good way, but it's so different. It's not just like revolving in a certain area. Like sometimes you get a good Oloroso sherry, and you'll get like some raisins and some figs and some cinnamon, that kind of thing. This one like goes across the boundaries from florals to fruits to like just dank mustiness to even like a real like a combination of chocolate and something else. I'm trying to think of what that is.
Yeah, there's definitely a milk chocolate thing going on in here.
It's like a Mexican chocolate, sort of.
Yeah,
like a mole.
The mandarin oranges or the juicy oranges.
Like a mole with oranges, yeah.
Mole, yeah.
That is interesting. I usually can't detect star anise, but it almost has like a star anise, like a Chinese five spice kind of
interesting
thing going on. I'm getting lots of spices now all of a sudden. That's crazy.
Yeah, I get you on the spice. For me, I'm not by picking up that kind of licoricey thing, but I get you on the Chinese five spice.
You're not getting the anise at all?
Not too much, maybe a little.
Yeah, it's subtle. It's not like in your face like some other drams
are. A little
are.
more allspicy for me, but yeah, I mean, and then also the like chai tea.
Oh yeah, you nailed it. I was like I was grasping for different spices. I'm like, this smells like a definitive one. I just couldn't think of the name of it. But I love chai tea, and that's exactly what that is. Wow, man, this is interesting. This is an interesting enough nose where you can come back and take a break and come back and get a totally different experience, which is good. It's a little, maybe it's just thinner because I've been swirling it around for so long, but
yeah, it's definitely a little thinner on the like viscosity compared to the cake, which is interesting. But
it still holds its shape fairly well, though. It's running down. All right. Let's see what kind of taste. Wow.
Oh man,
that is different.
That is so good.
That is good. Yeah.
Oh.
Huh.
Wow. Yo. This is a different animal.
Yeah, how do you describe that? That's not like anything. I mean, it's almost like it's definitely got that. It's like a combination of like tres leches and some sort of like it's got some cola elements in it.
Definitely. The carbonated like acidity almost. Oh my god! And that finish. You get 3 surges with this. Like it's like right when you think that finish is dead, you're just like, whoa. I mean, for me, orange, chocolate, dark brown sugar, caramelized sugar. There's some like dark, like blackberry jam. like sugar-free blackberry jam, right? No sugar, all just dark fruited tart.
I'm getting like a root beer with cream soda, like a root
Yeah,
beer
cream soda.
float, like a
Malted
root beer
milk ball.
float.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. That's
Maple
amazing.
syrup. I mean, like dark, rich maple syrup.
Yeah, this one is definitely not. Wow, it's thick. It's coating. It's funny. The even though it might not look viscosity wise, it tastes thick and juicy and
Yeah.
like molasses. And oh man, it's got a really nice combination of earthiness and sweetness. It's like a perfect balance of those two things together, in my opinion. Wow. It's definitely, wow, it's got a creaminess, but yet it's still got the chocolate thing going on, like a fudge, like a really good hot fudge sundae.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is unreal. How much like chocolate comes through in that too.
Yeah.
Huh. And not as drying as that first one either.
Not at all. It's juicier on the finish. It really is.
Wow, man.
Dude, right?
And this was under $100?
Oh yeah, this was $74 in Los Angeles.
What the hell is up with these prices on the cake versus this, man? That's insane.
Well, I don't know. Did you see any advertisement for this one? Because I sure didn't. I literally walked into a Total Wine in Orange County and I was like, the hell is this? 12-year-old, there's no box. It was just a bunch of bottles. I'm like, 12-year-old Malaga cask? Barrel Select release? What is this? I'm like, yo, did they just like drop some funky new Glenmorangie? I thought the cake just came out. I was just like, yoink, I'm grabbing this in a heartbeat.
I'm glad you
saw
did,
that
man.
47.3. I saw that non-chill filter and the 4 years in Malaga. I was like, oh yeah, I'm buying this. And
I'm glad you did, because they did a first fill on this, and this is no joke. This has made me a believer out of this Malaga cask for sure.
I'm telling you, I'll save it for my final thoughts. But yeah, let's. I just put about 3 little drops of water on this.
I hate to do anything to it because it's so damn good and neat, but I will put a couple of drops on a different pour, a little bitty pour, to see what happens with it. Wow, dude, that is amazingly good out of the gate, just as is. Was there a lot of bottles where you bought?
Yeah, there were a ton.
Oh shoot, I might have to get one for myself on this one. That's how good this one is.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm kicking myself. You know, I didn't have the bottle because I basically was going to put this in my top 5, but it didn't quite get there. But you know, in hindsight, this was up there, man. This was right there.
You did this one last year at the end of the year?
Yeah, just right at the end of the year. Yeah. I bought this when I was out in California. I did a couple live shows drinking it, and I was just like, oh my God, you guys, what the hell is this? You're not going to believe what I just found. You got to try this.
I can see why it almost made your thing, because if I had this last year, it definitely would have been in the top 3. I have a feeling. That's how good it is. That's surprising. Yeah. Huh. All right, I put a little bit of water. Let me see if we get anything different on the experience. Huh. A little bit more of the effervescence is still there, but I mean, I'm definitely getting it. It's just so wide spectrum. It's hard to put my nose. I was gonna say hard to put my nose on it, but I definitely get more and more chocolate. The more I experience the dram, no matter if it's the nose, the palate, or the finish, I feel like I'm getting more and more of this really thick, fudgy chocolate going on. It's crazy.
I'm getting white chocolate too. There's just so much going on in this. There's also like a mustiness, like It's almost like Dunnage Warehouse mustiness, and I know
Yeah,
this isn't the Dunnage Warehouse whiskey, but you pick it up a little bit.
yeah. This definitely has a spring bank ish
Glen
kind of
Scotia, like Glen
Scotia.
Scotia too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
You nailed it. I was thinking the Dunnage Warehouse is when I first nosed it, thinking like, wow, this kind of reminds me of that Ben Nevis / Springbank, really good craft.
I get a little bit more citrus and a bit more of the like again like the honey and sweet chocolate on the nose. I actually think the nose is a little better neat. I think it's just got a little sweeter, but man, those fruits are still there. They're just not coming through as dark.
The weird thing is, this one is the one I feel like they should have called the cake one because it's like a giant chocolate cake, man.
Like a cheesecake with like a berry compote on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting like whipped cream and like, man, that root earthiness is still there, but yet it's really sweet, but still very well balanced. It's still good with the water, but it doesn't need it. It doesn't really. I guess it does maybe extend the finish a little bitty bit, but not enough to make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's still got a really nice, more of a milk chocolate, I guess, with the water. Without the water, it was more of a fudge chocolate, like a dark fudge. The kind you get like you scoop it out and it's really thick and hot, that kind of fudge. That's what I'm getting all day with this dram, man. In a good way. It's not even though it's really intense and it's got that root beer still going on, and it's not one note either, really.
Yeah.
One more sip with neat first. Oops. Have you guys had either one of these on the cake or the Malaga? And if you had, let us know what you thought about it and what we're describing. What you like, what you don't like, that kind of thing. Let us know what you think. It's definitely more of a. I think I don't know, man. I don't know if it's not really sherry. It's these. This is a red wine or a white wine. Do you know which kind of wine it is?
It's Malaga is like basically a blend or a hybrid of like what would be PX and Oloroso.
Oh, it is sherry then. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's like
it's a Spanish. It's a Spanish wine.
a dual sherry thing with you got your dry Oloroso and you got your sweet PX going on. I think it's got a really nice blend of those two because man, it doesn't taste like PX or Oloroso to me at all whatsoever. It's got like its own thing going on here. I mean, I know what you're saying, Cohen, as far as the sherry funk, probably being more so than the Dunnage thing, because I don't think Glenmorangie has any Dunnage warehouses. If they do, I'd be surprised. But it definitely has that feel to it, which they are surprisingly able to. I don't want to say mimic, but definitely replicate that kind of feel to the whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost like if they're using organic barley or something to give it that extra effervescence in the. Even though it's a dark whiskey, it's got light things going on with it too. That's really intense. I mean, if you like root beer and chocolate and thick like flavors like that, oh man.
If you were going to compare this to one other Glenmorangie that you've had, which one would you compare it to? Like which one do you think is the most similar to this? I'll tell you mine, but I'd be interested.
That might be one of the toughest questions I've ever been asked because this one is so original to me. I'm trying to think of any Glenmorangie I've ever had that's either. I mean, I will say I do like Glenmorangie's casks. When they do the La Santa, they have a great sherried cask. When they do the Quinta it's got that hazelnut. It's got what you expect in a port, maturation. And then when they do the Neck Dower, they do a great Sauternes cask series there. All the private ones I've had have always had like a really nice flavor I wasn't much into the Milchon, but that's like one of the very few misses for me that Glenmorangie ever did. Maybe the cake one, but man, this one. I can't think of something off the top of my head. I've had Naduras, I've had the 14 Kinturban and the 12. I had the La Santa, the Dower. Oh man, the 18's different. The Signet, man, that might be the closest thing, even though it's different. The Signet has got chocolate, but it's more of a roasted almondy chocolate, and definitely more subtle to me than this. This one's more like what you want the Signet to taste like.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to say what Glenmorangie have I had that's closest to this, it's the Quinta Reuben. Probably the 12, not the 14. For the record, I think they're about the same, but I would rather drink the 12. I think it's a little bit better. Because I do get a bit of that ruby portness to this, but there's just more complexity here. And honestly, this is a freaking bonanza.
This is why, and that's the reason why I like this maybe even more so. I hate to say it because it's twice the price, but the Signet, it's not a bad whiskey, the Signet, but it doesn't have the complexity to me as this one might have. And the finish is extra long on this, and it's been many years since I've had the Signet, I have to admit, so don't take all what I'm saying about that as a direct comparison, but the finish on that was not extremely memorable, other than I remember it being like a nice chocolate roasted malt type of dram.
Yeah.
This one to me has got that, and the florals plus the root beer intensity, and I can't remember the ABV on the Signet. It was probably around 48, so it's probably a similar ABV, I imagine. I don't think the Signet's anything high, is it? Or can you remember?
Price-wise or ABV?
Oh, ABV.
I think it's 43. Price-wise, it's like $1.80. I mean, it's good, but I
Yeah, it's 46%, so it's actually lower. So I was surprised. I'm surprised by that, but yet because of the price. But I actually do like this one just as much, if not more, because it does still have the espresso notes that the Signet has too. It's got the I was kind of going over the taste profile of the Signet. What this one has, it definitely has the malted barley, and it's got the complexity. It's got kind of a similar thing, and it's got an age statement on it. So
yeah,
I'm surprised that they're willing to charge, for the Signet as much as they do with compared to some other bottles like this one that's just as good, for a lot less.
So, yeah, with that, do you want to roll out your final thoughts and score here?
Sure. Oh, man, this is a tough one, but it's really good. I love the fact it's no chill filter. We already talked about coloring's probably just for consistency, and I don't think they're lying about that if that's what they say. Great 47.3 ABV. Great cask too. It's almost like you get 2 for 1. You get the great cask, you get an age statement, and you get a great ABV, and you get a great price. So that's what makes it almost a home run for me. I can't put it up there with some really 18 to 21 year stuff per se, but it definitely can hang with any. This is what, a 12. It definitely beats the shit out of most 12-year-olds I've ever have thought even tasted. So, oh man, this one tastes more like a 15 to 17 year to me. Is that kind of similar to your experience?
Yeah, if you didn't tell me, I would probably think it's 15. I mean, like, compare this to what is it, that 15-year Cadbull Estate that came out earlier this year. I mean, this blows the doors off that.
I didn't have it, but I can imagine how. Yeah, I can imagine how much better this is compared to other, like have you ever heard of the Dithuk, the DUT?
No, I haven't. No.
That's their travel retail exclusive.
I have one of the travel retails. I haven't opened yet. The Tane. We'll have to do that one sometime.
That'd be awesome. I've never tried that one, so I'll definitely take you up on that one. I'll try to get something different that you haven't had before if I can find something.
Yeah, there's like a
Um,
million Glenmos out there. So
I might be able to find something classic. You might surprise you. We'll see if I get lucky on a find. But man, this is really good, man. This is one of the best whiskeys I've had in a while, to be honest with you. And to me, I mean, I'm not knocking Glenmorangie. There have had some other good ones, but this is like one of the best Glenmorangies I've had above any of them. And I've had like Signet 18, other ones. Damn, this is going to be tough. I'm going to have to say, with all that said, it's definitely way above a 3, and I'm bordering. I'm kind of around a 4.25, fluttering around a 4.5 because of everything but the coloring is the only thing I can really bitch about. And if that's the only thing I can really bitch much about, and more age is always a plus, but that's not really a problem. ABVs are already pretty decent. Could be 50, but that, I think I'm going to stay with 4.25 out of 5. I think that's a damn good 12-year-old. One of the best I've ever had.
Yeah. 4.25. I'll say, I've not had a ton of older Glenmorangies. I've probably had a dozen Glenmorangies. I think this is probably the best Glenmorangie I've ever had. This punches above its weight in every respect. Complexity, price, presentation, just killer. I went through this bottle incredibly quickly. Again, this is a $75 to $85 bottle. I think this is a must-buy whiskey for sure. For me, my video review that I did of this, probably when I was about a quarter way through the bottle, I gave this a 4 out of 5. I'll tell you right now tonight, this is a 4.25 out of 5 for me too. I think this is a stellar. This is a must-buy. Get your hands on this if you can. This portends a lot of great things from this series that they're apparently going to do with these barrel selects. I'm telling you, I'm right there with you, Telex. I'm hard-pressed to think of a 12-year-old whiskey across the regions of Scotland that can go toe-to-toe with this. I mean, the short list would be like Lagavulin 12 cask strength. I mean, like, this is that good. If you got poured this blind, you wouldn't know that this was a 12-year-old whiskey. I think this drinks like a 15. The price is there, non-chill filtered. They nailed it on this. You might not even know this is a Glenmorangie. It's that good.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mean that to slight Glenmorangie, but I'm saying the richness and the intensity and the complexity is not something you usually get from a distillery that's characteristically a bit on the lighter side. I really think I would probably choose this over the Signet, and I really liked the Signet.
Yeah, I guarantee that if you blind tasted any of the even Maine whiskey guys like Roy, Ralphie, some of these guys, I would be, if they never had this already, I would be really surprised if they could pick Glenmorangie off of the distillery having the taste. Don't you think that would be really a tough one to do? I mean,
I think this is better than, if you look at strictly age statements. Now, it's more expensive than the average 12, but like if we're talking about quality for price ratio, Lagavulin 12 is like $150. I'm trying to think of other 12-year-olds. Highland Park is only 50, and that one I think is in my top 5. I'm thinking Bunnahabhain, that's 50. Springbank 12 cask strength, that's like 120. This is nestled at an incredibly good price. This is nestled at 15-year-old whiskey price, but I'm telling you, it drinks like it.
Oh yeah.
Nothing but praise for this, man. This kicks ass. Yeah, I'm gonna jack it up tonight, man. I'm 4.25 on this.
If you didn't know it was a Glenmorangie, what would you guess? I'm thinking, for me, I probably would pick Glen Scotia as the probable distillery. Was what it tastes.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking, give me a second. Maybe a Glenallachie.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
It does have that kind of. It has that the
mustiness. Yeah, the foostiness. It's just. I don't know what to say.
So
I mean,
surprising how good it is.
if
Yeah.
you go back and look at my stuff, it was like in mid-October or late October when I threw myself on the live stream from LA and I was like, look what I just got today. We got to try this. And I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, I think you're right, Cohen. If I find this one, it said this is a Total Wine bottle, right?
Yeah, I have never seen it anywhere else but Total Wine, so I'm going to assume that this is a Total Wine only. I'll tell you this much: I'm going to buy another bottle of this.
Yeah, and I will say that even though the Signet I know is 15 and has older stuff, I didn't know it was up to 40 a year. That's crazy.
Telex, I got to take 5, but I'm going to pour my
Sure.
18 out, and then we'll get back into it.
Sure, no problem, man.
All right, I'll be right back.
The Signet thing is pretty good, but I agree. It's one of the it's one of the best whiskeys ever had. It's so good. More people really should get it. It is good. I'm just surprised of how like good this one is. I mean, that's saying something because I'll agree that the Signet is a good whiskey. I never said it was bad, but this one is even to me somehow preferable. Like surprisingly. I'll probably pick this one up, even though for 90 I could get a Corey or a Glen Scotia 18. I think this is better than the Glen Scotia 18. I've had the Glen Scotia 18, and I actually like this whiskey better because of the cask that's used. Is so good. It is unbelievably good on this one. Yeah, the 12 is epic for sure, man. They're showing up in 2 weeks at a shop locally, and the owner let me buy them early at $200. Still worth it. Wow, that is crazy. 12 for 2013. Okay, sounds like a contender. Yeah, I'm surprised of how good this one was. The 12 is probably best ever tasted. Wow. Be fun to try different 12s from different years. Glendronix, yeah. Yeah, this one is slightly better than the Glendronach 12. I'd say this Glenmorangie 12 Malaga cask. It crosses all the boxes. Checks all the boxes, crosses all the T's, dots all the I's for a 12. Man, that is unbelievably good. And sadly, I went through my sample really quick. I'm I'm like trying to pour more to see if I can get more out of it, but I don't think I can get any more drops out of the bottle. But that is a damn good taste. I'm going to definitely try to find a way to get my hands on that. Let's pour some of this 18. Now, on the 18, I was looking for Glenmorangie's flagship outside of the Signet. The reason for that to me was to try to find the best age-stated distillery bottle of Glenmorangie I could find. Now, you guys, been around the block a few times and know your whiskey. What would you go for besides the 18? I could not find an older age-stated Glenmorangie out there. If there is one, please let me know what it is without going, beyond 25 years, because then you get to these astronomically crazy high prices. But I'm just wondering if there's something out there beyond the 18, as far as being a flagship bottle besides the Signet. What would you go for? And it's a beautiful presentation and bottle. I'm definitely not knocking at. I'm just wondering because and also the price on this is around $100, which is really really surprising how low it is. For 18 year. Now we'll get into the stats here in a little bit, but what would you guys pick? I think that's the problem with Glenmorangie. It's the 18 or Signet, and that's it. They don't really have, anything beyond that. Yeah, and it is a super good buy, and it's a good bottle. But man, I'm just wondering if they'll ever have like a 21 or a 25 that's affordable or existing to pick up. Either both would be nice, but one or the other would be great too if that was a possibility. We'll put it that way. I picked the Signet out of the core range. Yeah, I'm thinking that at this point I might not have much of a choice. I do think they do, Daniel. I think this is actually one of the rare problems that Glenmorangie has, is for people like myself that want to branch out. And I'm not afraid of spending a few $100 and maybe even more on a really good 21 or 25 even year old. At least give me the the 21, if not a 25. That's all I'm asking for. And the Signet I can get for 180 all day long. I'm surprised that the distillery does not offer a 220 to 250 and also a $400 to $500 option. They do need, I think, both of those. And for them not doing it, I'm really surprised that whoever controls their I don't want to say marketing, but their yield, I guess the master distiller. I'm surprised that they haven't decided to try to do anything at a 21 to 25 to get those markets, because there's a lot of people that are willing to spend 2 to 250 and also up to the 500 to 600 and beyond range on some of these things. So, does anyone have an opinion on how Glenmorangie 18 compares with other 18s? I do, and I'll talk about that here after we go through the motions on this one with Malt here in a second. I have some strong opinions on that. What's the earliest age statement past the 18? They have the Kitsurabon 14 is the one I'm thinking. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the earliest age statement past the 18, I think, is the 14 Kinturabon, right?
No, 12 La Santa.
No, they have the 14 Kinturabon, though.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. 14 Kinturabon, and then the 15 Cadbull Estate.
That's the one I'm thinking I'm missing, is the 15. But one thing I'm really surprised that Glenmorangie doesn't have, and I think they do need it, is a 21 and a 25, because they don't offer anything beyond Signet as far as their core range.
They have some, yeah, not in the core. They have some really old stuff, but yeah, I don't think that there's anything really outside of that.
They don't have any. I don't. They don't have any 21 or 25, and they're missing anything that's 200 to 250. They're missing that entire price point, and they're missing the $400 to $500 price point, which I'm surprised that 180 to 210 is their top price point on what they sell as their core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing, Daniel. They don't have anything above 18 that I'm aware of. That's what I was shooting. That's the reason why I bought this, because this one only runs surprisingly about $100 for an 18-year-old. But we'll get into the reasons why here in a little bit. But I'm surprised that they don't really offer any of the people that are willing to spend 2 to 250 and 4 to 500 range. Can you think of any there, Malt?
Not offhand. Oh, not even Oban.
I mean, Oban's got the 21.
Oban has a 21,
and they have an 18 too. So
right.
Most places have a 21 and a 25.
Well, Craig Ellicky.
They got 23.
17, right? Craig Ellicky has a 17,
and they have a 23 too.
Yeah, they have the 23. Yeah, you're right.
And they have a 30 something.
I mean, Glenmorangie seems like what they aim for is a little bit more. Their bread and butter is these finishes and stuff like that. But I don't know.
I guess that's true. I just wish they did, have an option for the 21/25 year crowd that, like myself, that's trying to find that older distillery model. This was the best one I could get next to the Signet, and now I'm thinking, well, maybe I should have got that one. But you know what? I was going by numbers, and I thought I want to go with the highest age stated whiskey that the distillery offered.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you picked this one up. As I was mentioning on my happy hour, we were talking a little bit about the Glenmorangies, and this is one of the first 18-year-olds I ever got because it was such a great price. And I loved it. And I've not probably had this in 3 or 4 years. And so I'm really looking forward to diving into this one, as I have good memories about it. It might actually be the first 18-year-old that I bought, if I think about it. I'm really looking forward to revisiting this old friend. So
The Oban 21, you're right, Stephen, is not core, but I wasn't talking about just core. I'm just talking about any distillery bottle that's beyond 18. And unfortunately, Glenmorangie just doesn't have one other than the 32 that you're talking about. But who has $5,000 to spend on a $750 whiskey?
it tastes about worth 750.
That's what I was afraid of. I was like,
yeah, totally.
a lot of these guys were saying that it had, I think Cohen spotted it was at least 18 with some like 40-year-old stuff in it or something like that. I think that's the thing with he said 16 was the 15 to 40. So I think what they've done is instead of focusing on a 21 and a 25-year-old whiskey like most companies do, they probably have this big gap. Maybe they were closed for a certain period of time where they skip from the 15 to the 40-year range, and for that reason, maybe all they have to offer is the signet for that. So that very well could be the issue there. Hey, Eric, do you prefer the Enoch 18 over the Glenmorangie 18? I would probably say no, but I'm guessing.
Well, I'll let you know after we drink this. My gut reaction is yes, but I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. I meant to say yes. I was going to say I had a feeling that you were going to prefer the Enoch over this one because of just my own experience too. It's the Enoch 18 is definitely up there with one of the better.
So here's the interesting thing about the initial neck pour on the Enoch 18. It was one of the I did a 3-way. I did the 12. I did a live show. This was a long time ago. I opened the 12, 18, and 24. And I'll tell you, the 18 was the one that I think kind of missed the mark the most for what it was supposed to be. But I'll tell you this much: with a little bit of oxygen, man, that whiskey got real good. I mean, it's no Enoch 24, by the way. There are a few that are, but it is fantastic. Really, really good stuff.
That was my first 18-year-old as well. Andrew was the Highland Park 18. Was my first 18-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. The Highland Park 18, I'm a little bit more of a bear on than some people. I mean, I think it's good, but I actually, this is going to sound like heresy. I actually prefer the 12 for the price. The 12 has more of that punchiness to it. The 18 I thought was good. I'm not sure if I'll buy it again, but the Highland Park is quite good, which I think we tasted actually. But
when you have
I might have to get another 18. I had the Viking Pride one, so I might need to try an older one, something like that. But
when you have such a good 12, it's like, how could you go to the 18? I mean, when you have such a good 12, why not just get the 12 and the 24 and the 18? That's the thing.
You can't mess with the 8. You can't mess with the HP 12.
Stephen Connor was saying that they do have the Grand Vintage series, but they're upper 20s age, but they're still overpriced and only at 43%. And I think that's where they're suffering, is they don't really get high on their ABVs. I mean, even their 18 at their highest age is only 43%. So
yeah.
I mean, that's the funny thing, is that when we just had that Malaga was 47.3, and it's beating out the ABV on the 18, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, happy to dive into this one though. It's your pour, so I can start things off.
Yeah, go ahead and start things off on that one, man.
So the nose on the Glenmorangie 18. You said this is 43, and we don't know. It's probably chill filtered and color.
Well, let me give you a quick rundown real fast on as you're doing your nose. We did discuss this is the Highlands, of course, and this is going to be 18, 43% ABV, both ex-bourbon and ex-Oloroso sherry on the cask types. It's 15 years in ex-bourbon, and a third of this is finished in ex-sherry casks, while the remaining continues to mature in the barrels of the whiskey for 18 years. So they take a third of it, split it at 15 years of age, and take a third into the sherry, but they keep the rest into the. Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. And let's see if there's anything else I can give you. General profile is usually fruity and sweet, but that's that's it on the notes, I should say.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, I mean, the nose on this, it's subtle, it's refined. The dominant things I pick up: honey. Again, a very characteristic Glenmorangie nose. Honey. You get a lot of that sweet barley sugar, kind of barley grain. There's orange. Behind it, you're getting a little bit of a little sharpness from what I'm thinking is like a red fruit. It's hard to really tell. I want to say like strawberry. There's a little tropical in it. There's a little bit of the bourbon where you're getting the vanilla, the very light caramel, all very light notes on this. And there's also like a breadiness to it. I like shortbread. And then the last thing I notice is a little sharp, like it's like green grape. So all in all, sweet, slightly floral. There's some floral in this. It's sweet and it's tart.
Yeah, I echo the same thing. Plus maybe some cherries on the nose. I'm getting the strawberries, like you said. I'm also getting like a cherries, and this time instead of maraschino, it's more of like not a black cherry, but like in between a maraschino and a black, kind of like a mid-grade regular cherry kind of a smell. And the florals, I'm getting a lot of the florals that you were mentioning too.
Like lilac.
Lilacs, yeah, definitely. That's
one of my favorite florals, by the way. About 120?
No, it's 99. It was 99 right out of the money, man.
Good to know.
One of the better priced 18s, I have to say.
For sure.
Minus the ABV issue, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Glenlivet 18 was a 43, and I loved it.
I miss the old 18.
There's a nice like butterscotch, like almost like a light butterscotch, like light toffee thing in here too. There's a lot new again, and then a zesty. It's tangerine. It's sharper than like your juicy, navel orange, that you pick up at the store. Like
it's got a citrus bite to it. Yeah.
Quite nice. I mean, I really like this nose. It's not loud at all. The Malaga was very loud, very complex. This has got some complexity, but it's much more tame. It's much more refined. But it's quite delicious. I'll go in for a taste.
Oh yeah, I'm getting some Concord grapes in there too, and some crumble. Yeah, I like the nose on that a lot. Let's go for a taste.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's where it's at.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
If you like citrus, this is definitely a great dram.
This, I want to just make a bracket something for us to talk about later. That Kayla cake was 43%. I feel like this drinks everything as much as a 46%, or it was 46%. It drinks everything as much as a 46%. For me, this arrives very full mouthfeel, mouth coating, heavy. It's a heavy whiskey. Creamy. Again, there's light brown sugar, light caramel, light vanilla, sweets. There's a little bit of a tartness, a little savory, a little spice. It develops nice. You get a nice second surge in the mid development where the spice really comes through. A little bit of that oak char, but boy, every edge on this whiskey seems rounded off incredibly well. Nice medium long finish. It's a creamy, like a orange cream soda. There's vanilla, there's a little bit of like nutmeg, a little bit of pepper spice, but like chili pepper, but very slight.
Yeah, a little caliente. Yeah.
Chamomile tea.
Wow, that was a good pick out there.
Yeah, it's there. Ooh.
It's a great way to close, man. I mean, the Malaga is really damn good, but this is good too. It's a different type of good.
Yeah.
Wow. I love the combination of the oranges and the vanilla. And
right.
It's like a magic combination of and the cream soda you talked about, like those three things together is almost like heaven itself.
Like an orange. Remember those orange dreamsicles?
With the orange, was it like a horse or a
It's like
cow
the
or
swirl
something?
with the white through it. Yeah.
Those exactly what this tastes like.
Oh man. And everything is just so. Nothing is like taking over. Everything is just kind of right in this middle range. You get a little pop here and there. There's some juicy fruit gum. It's all just kind of right there, playing well with each other. This is well married together. I can see why, and maybe this is the genius, why they only took a third of it to put it in sherry, because you do get a little of that fruit note, that the red fruit, the strawberry, that I think otherwise would be too dark or too dry or too powerful and would overtake what I think is a very kind of, again, in classic Glenmorangie style, elegant, refined, light, but powerful flavored whiskey.
What's this doctor's name again?
Dr. Bill.
Dr. Bill, man. I have to give him credit. He definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to the casks, the interaction with casks. He's a master at that, and you can just tell about all the things that they've done over the years. It's crazy.
Yeah. How's the palate for you?
It was great. I also had put a little bit of water on it, and it brings out the bourbon elements of the cask.
I'm gonna do with this really long thing. I'm gonna do a little bit of water too. This is 43. I'm gonna do maybe a drop or two. I just got a really nice glass pipette, and I of course broke it within 3 hours. I broke the end off of it, so I got to buy a new one. I have some plastic ones I can use in the interim.
Oh man,
I got it as part of my Glen Grant tasting thing I did with the Philadelphia Whiskey Society, and of course.
Oh, man, that sucks, but I'm glad that you can get another one though. Hopefully, pretty easily.
Yeah,
it's got some really nice, like, it brings out the bourbon. If you add a drop of water, it has the vanillas and the caramels and the toffees, the butterscotches come through more.
Like toast, like pancakes, toast. There's like breakfast food quality to this.
Oh wow, you're right, yeah.
There's some apple. I'm getting a lot more apple now too, which again I tend to pick up a lot on bourbon. I do agree with you. The bourbon casks are making themselves a little bit more assertive with water here, but it's not taking away. It's actually got a little bit spicier and a little bit more, maybe citric, a little more acidic.
Yeah, I was gonna say it also has a glass of orange juice along for the breakfast.
Nailed it. Yes, exactly. I mean, we all need a good glass of scotch to start our morning. Part of a nutritious breakfast, Glenmorangie 18. You heard it here first.
This would be if I had a bad. I mean, I'd have to have a bad day to drink that early. If I had to wake up and think, man, I'm going to drink something, which I've never done, thankfully. But if I ever did wake up at like 9, 10 a.m. and I thought I need a drink, this would be the one I would go to. This is not a bad thing.
Nice. And it's just this core of this it doesn't change. The core of this whiskey, like I am getting more. It's a little more vibrant now, a little more lively with water. But again, that nucleus of like the orange, the barley sugar, the barley grain, the sweet honey, it's all just right there.
And you're right. For this to be 43, I'm surprised because this tastes like a 46%,
yeah,
48% whiskey.
I'm gonna go in for a taste now with water.
It's definitely it's got that boost from the flavor in the cask.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great taste.
God damn. Oh man. The chocolate notes are coming through so much more now. There's again, little bit tannic, but it's such a light tannicness that it doesn't overtake that dense, creamy chocolate vanilla caramel thing that just rides through this with the orange on the side, like chocolate covered orange, like blood orange.
Oh yeah. Blood oranges. That's definitely more like that's the funny thing when you get to the younger Glenmorangies, they usually have that orange and lemon, and sometimes even a tangerine kick. This one's got even more of the darker oranges, like the blood oranges in it. It's
Yeah.
really good. Hmm.
Yo, man,
That's just such a great
I'll
combination.
it's a God. There's even like a almost like pistachio. There's a little saltiness on the end of it.
Oh, good call on this pistachio. Yeah, it's like
Like a
it's a salty
Jamocha.
nut.
You know, you ever had Jamocha before? Like Jamocha ice cream.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. There was I don't. Have you ever been to Louisville before?
Yes.
Do you ever been to the place called the Old Spaghetti Factory downtown
I
Louisville?
have not. No.
It's a really good. If you're ever in Louisville, I'm not sure if it's still there because it's been over 20 years since I've been to it. But if you ever get a chance to go and they still have it, go to the Old Spaghetti Factory. They have a great sit down, Italian dinner, and at the end they give you spumoni ice cream, man, with the
Yeah.
pistachios. Oh my God! With a glass of this next to that, I would be in freaking heaven. I'm telling you.
I feel like this can go with any dessert. It really does. This I think this is more subtle and balanced than the tail of cake. I think it's just would be better with any dessert. I also feel like God, there's like a cookies and cream ice cream thing going on here too. Like
Wow, man, you're pulling like the best notes out I've ever heard.
God damn, man.
And they're good notes too.
You get a little bit of that salted, like lightly salted caramel thing, maybe salted cashew on the end. God, man. I'll just be real with you, man. This is a stellar 18-year-old whiskey. It still is. And this is 3 years, probably 3.5 years since I had this. And I'm still impressed. I want this on my bar, man. I want this on my bar right now. I need a bottle behind me.
I wish I didn't drink it so fast.
No, I don't blame you. Like, this is so drinkable, dangerously so. It's like it's one of these 18-year-olds where it's not a you can enjoy it passively. Like, you don't need to sit down and think about all the stuff that's happening. You give me a Springbank 18, something like, I want to nerd out about it. I'm like thinking about the whiskey a lot. This, I could just sip and enjoy this in an incredibly relaxed way without having to, contemplate the whiskey very much. It just fits right in there, man.
Yeah, this is I didn't do a close up earlier, but this is they give you a nice big box. Presentation's really nice. You can't get better for $100, and it's got the whole open up, deal. And it's I have to say, I mean, for $100, man, for value. I mean, I don't even equate value in my reviews, but man, if I did, that would boost the shit out of this one. That's for sure.
Does it say extremely rare on it? I know that it used to say that. Does it still say that?
It still says that. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's extremely rare, aged 18 years, perfected by the 16 Men of Tain. Have you heard about the 16 Men of Tain?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can you give them kind of a rundown on what that's about if they haven't heard
the
about it?
The Men of Tain thing is just like, I mean, it's on every Glenmorangie. It's part of their whole folklore about the land and the distillery, and there's a whole like mythology history thing about them. I don't know enough details to talk about it with any knowledge, but basically the 16 Men of Tain are like, or bless their whiskey or whatever, and all of their whiskeys talk about the 16 Men of Tain. Even our erstwhile friend, the Tail of Cake from an hour and a half ago, they even mentioned the 16 Men of Tain, and that's what that symbol is on all the Glenmorangies. Like you see it prominently on there. It's like they're like Celtic symbol or whatever. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I like the presentation. I mean, on one hand, if you were a marketer, I'm sure the marketing company is not all enthused about the colors that they probably choose as a distillery, but the gold pops and it does have a nice kind of classic look. I like that you see it, you know what it is without, really glaring at it, but it's not like, gleaming across the room either in big bright white boxes and stuff like that. So it's
Jason Coates is in the house. What's up, Jason? Nice to see you, buddy.
Yeah, Jason, have you? What's your favorite Glenmorangie that you've ever had? I'm just curious, and that goes for the rest of you guys. Like, if you could pick one bottle beyond all other ones that are distillery bottles, what would it be? And if you have a favorite independent bottle of Glenmorangie, which you don't really see too many of, have you? That's one thing I don't know if I've ever really had was a.
I'm not sure I have either.
I wonder if you see those. Has anyone ever had a really good independent bottling of Glenmorangie? Just out of curiosity, that would be a fun one.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to go with my final thoughts on this one.
Go ahead, man.
In short, this is killer. I think I kind of blew my wad when I said, like, this is an 18-year-old whiskey that's incredibly relaxed.
Relax, don't do it when
We're getting a little loose here tonight, gentlemen. We get three tastings on the show. This is unprecedented territory, so you can't judge it.
He's talking about
always get a little warm
that's what came up in my
head. Yeah. It's incredibly relaxed. This is, I think, sitting on a porch in the summertime. I think about just, it is the definition of relaxation to me. My whiskey nerd brain isn't searching for a million flavors and tastes in it and notes. It all just works harmoniously. It's decadent in a spice tree way. Like, it's decadent. Unassuming, well crafted, and the price is right. This is a 4 out of 5 for me. I would even venture to, I'm going to stick with 4 out of 5 here. I think this is a must-buy 18-year-old. It does not disappoint. I think it's one of my favorite 18s still, even after all of these years, even with it being 43% chill filtered and color added. I'm sorry. There's just nothing I can point to in this that should make me put this at a lower score. I mean, if this was $150, I'd drop it to like a 3.5, but the price is right. It's a great whiskey. It's robust. It's oily. It's viscous. It's flavorful. And it's just so smoothly relaxing. 4 out of 5 for me.
I'm right there with you, man. It's funny. I was kind of scanning what people thought is their favorite Glenmorangies they've had. Jason hasn't had much. He liked the 12-year-old Dower, which is their Sauternes. I do like that one a lot. I was lucky enough to have it before they dropped the age statement on their Dower, which is kind of weird, but they probably ran out of juice. Still get more from nosing, from breathing out nose while the Scotch was in my mouth. Well, also disappear. Don't be afraid to try a technique where you're kind of, after you got it in your mouth, kind of try to inhale a little bit with it in your mouth, just subtly, like, and kind of like eat the whiskey a little bit. Take a sip, but kind of chew on it, and that oxygen getting with your palate, and you're salivating at the same time. That's going to get that finish really, I think, getting more intensified. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you can get by. I mean, don't do this out in public at a wet wine tasting or a Scotch tasting, but if you're in your own house, kind of chomp at it a little bit and get those flavors rolling that way. Lucas, sorry. Let me go to the James Chang. Good to meet you. I don't know if
James, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Signet for him, he's done the 10, 12, Kinterbonnet, 12. Okay, 14. Yeah. I think a lot of folks are really stuck on the Signet because that is like the next to the 18. It's like the only option out there.
That's their Jim Aaron Rodgers.
That's funny. That's Frankie Goes to Hollywood, man. That's a classic. I've never seen an independent Glenbone, but I've say the Artian. Wow, that's the. Isn't that the first private edition, or is that a newer one? I can't remember.
That's an older one.
Yeah. That name is familiar, and I want to say that might have been their first private edition, but don't quote me on it. Stephen will probably let me know.
He'll let us know.
I'm surprised that they don't do a lot of independents, since the fact they don't have any beyond 18-year whiskey. That's what is crazy. But I think you were right, Eric, Malt Muser, on the fact that they probably are just masters at the casks, and that's what they really
I
focus.
think I mean, I look, I was having a great conversation a week or so ago on a little impromptu live stream I did with Welsh Toro, where we were talking about like distilleries that just do finishes, or like these finished bottles, and like how finishes, much like jacking up the ABV, is a way to mask not great spirit. And I was stretched a little bit thinking about like whiskeys that I think finished whiskeys, not matured but finished, that like I think made the whiskey better or more interesting. So like Lagavulin Distiller's Edition is an example. I don't think it's better. I think it's just different, and it doesn't make it worse. Glenmorangie is an example. They just do these finishes so well. They really do. Yeah, they could mature it in sherry and whatever, and maybe it'd be better. But like, I don't have anything to turn my nose up at with their finishes. I think that they're really great at it, and I think, as to what you were saying, it's a testament to just, I think that they're very skilled at this. And this 18, man, it's just, it's just a great pour, and at that price these days, come on, So I'll hand it to you for your final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna agree. I think with the score on that one, because the 4 is where I was kind of stuck, because the Malaga, just to me, it was just edged it out just a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah.
This is right up there with it. I'm thinking I might also give this a 4.25. I like it as much, just for totally different reasons. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that's hard for me not to knock it more is the low ABV is the only bitch session I have with this whiskey. But it tastes
like, this would be as like refined, like as great of an experience. Like, this whiskey is a testament to balance, I think. So I'm just curious. I don't mean to cut you off, but like, if this was jacked up to 46%, like, do you think it would hold?
Well, I'm actually agreeing with you, because I was about to say that I think it tastes more like a 46 to 48% whiskey at 43%, which is, it's almost like a mind fuck if you think about it. It's like they're giving you a lower ABV, but they're giving you a better experience at a higher ABV with the low ABV whiskey. I guess it's a testament at how good these casks really are that they're using in their process of finishing, I should say.
Yeah, and maybe even like, the way that they distill their whiskey. I mean, it's like the heavy compounds are pulled out of this. I mean, they have the tallest stills in Scotland, as they say, and like, the elegant, refined nature of this. Like, they seem to know a way to really use the delicate and subtleness of their whiskey spirit, or their new make, to like infuse it with flavor.
Yeah, these guys are like the masters of finishing whiskey, period, it seems like. And I think you nailed it earlier when you were talking about the difference between guys that are the distilleries that are really great at maturing the whiskey versus the finishing. And I don't think a lot of people even think about the differences between that. And there's a lot to it when you think about it, which is kind of cool, that it's almost a craft in itself, not even talking about blending and other things that these guys do with their own whiskeys that they have. So that's what, I mean, it's really hard to fault this one. I'm thinking that maybe this is why they don't do a 21 or 25, because they don't really have to with these kinds of whiskeys, like a 12 and an 18-year-old scoring above a 4, or at least a 4 for both of us. I mean, that says a lot, in itself, because we just don't throw 4 and 4.5, whiskeys, gradings out there for just anybody. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, so just to summarize, I mean, we did 3 Glenmorangies today. We are normally we'll spend an hour on each. We usually do 2. We did 3 tastings. Tale of Cake was a 3 from Malt Muser, a 2.5 from Telex. The Barrel Select 12-year Malaga cask finished Glenmorangie was 4.25s across the board, and we got a 4 on the 18 from Malt Muser and a 4.25 from Telex. So high praise on some of these Glenmorangies, y'all. And the especially the latter two, the Malaga cask and the 18. I mean, these are whiskeys that we would definitely recommend y'all look out for. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Glenmorangie sesh tonight. This was fun, and I see another one in the future because, boy, oh boy, there are a lot of Glenmorangies out there. Hey, Telex.
Oh yes, I've already got my eye on some other stuff, because I mean the experience has always been good with these guys, but with your Malaga that you just brought to the table, man, that just kind of solidifies the deal that I got to try more of these guys' stuff in general. I have never tried that Catabal Estate. I never tried the some of the other ones that you were talking about. I know that some of them are kind of like hit and miss on some, but they have some really good winners out there. So those are the ones to look out for. If you see one of us talk about one and we're kind of, indifferent to it, of course, maybe skip that one. But if we're both, especially one of us even are above a 4 or a 4 above, it's like you kind of have to take a gamble and try it for yourself, really.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. So we're about to hit the top of the hour. I thought maybe I would just take a quick second and give folks a preview of what to expect over the next coming weeks as we head into more malt shows.
Sure. 1 second.
Tasty Tuesdays. Go ahead.
1 second before you get into that, I just want to say this one quick last thing. On one thing, and I was thinking about this earlier, guys. I hope you guys realize I don't get a cent or a bottle from any company that's in here. I know he probably said it as a joke about the Glenmorangie check, but please be aware that every bottle you see back here and things that you've seen before, I have put my own money into. And if it's not my own money, it was a direct trade from myself with someone else. I've never been given a distillery bottle. And I wouldn't accept it to be expected to do a certain review. Whatever reviews you get from us guys, we're not giving it to you because we're paid or sold or have any influence on anything. We're just having fun, sitting down, trying whiskey, and telling you guys what we think of it, really. Sorry, I just want to make sure that they knew that out there.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing. Good to be explicit about that. Yeah, I mean, just to add on to and build on what Telex said, I mean, we put these little tasting shows together really just like on the fly. We try to do a really accessible whiskey in the first hour, and then we try to do a little bit of an older one in the second hour. Obviously today was a little different because we did Glenmorangies, but we're not getting free bottles from distilleries. We're not we have our favorites, but none of them are paying us for it. So you can always, and that'll never change. So you can always trust that we're independent on all the opinions that we share. So
I mean, if Springbank Whisky send me a 21, I'm not going to say no per se, but I guarantee you, I will not give you a good review just because you send me a bottle.
right, exactly. We're not like business entrepreneurs. We're literally just like, two dudes who love tasting whiskey and sharing our dumb thoughts with everybody and hearing your guys' thoughts. So we learn more about it from you guys than probably from each other. So that's what makes it great. So just a quick update. So here's what's coming up for the next couple of weeks, y'all. Here on the Tasty Tuesday Whiskey Chat with Telex and Malt. We have next week. It's we're in the middle of damn January, so Telex and I are gonna head to the tropics and do some rum finished whiskeys. We are going to be doing the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve and the Glenfiddich 21 rum finish. After that. We're going to be checking out some Ardbegs. We're going to do the Ardbeg 10, and then we're going to do a head-to-head between the Ardbeg Black Committee release and the Ardbeg Black Limited release. And the first week of February, it's Glentronic 18 Allardyce, the 2017 22-year-old version and the 2019 24-year-old version. So we're going to be getting into some Allardyce, and then, one more. Week of the 9th, second week of February, Glencadam 13 or The Awakening and Glencadam 21. So we got some fun ones coming up. Do hit subscribe on Telex if you haven't yet. same with me. Hit subscribe on Malt Muser and give us a thumbs up before you guys head out the door tonight. We appreciate it. It does a lot to promote the show, and we enjoy having as many folks in as possible to talk about good whiskey. So
if you've got 2 accounts, you can do it twice.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm being evil tonight.
I know what Telex is doing after this.
I'm just being silly. Sorry, man.
All right, man. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to sign off.
Yep.
And until next time, stay safe, be well. I got a review of the Ben Romick Organic dropping this Friday, so check that out if you guys are interested on Malt Muser whiskey reviews. And we'll see you guys next week to drink some rum-finished single malt scotches. Stay safe, be well, wear a mask.
And I'll be keeping my eyes out. I've been wanting to get their new, maybe one of their new. I mean, I saw the Bendromic, that one. They have a 30, 35 year, and they have the new 21 on Bendromic. So I was wondering which one to go with. So we'll have to talk about that one. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to trying either one, because I'm sure either one's going to be pretty good.
Yeah,
it's a matter of trying to get it for a good price. That's the trick of some of these. And I really appreciate all the support out there, and hope to see you guys soon on the side. Steven, I need to get with him on a Ben Nevis maybe in our future. And I've got a good lead on some older stuff from Highland Park. I found a Fire and Ice, surprisingly, bottles that were good deals, as well as the Dark and the Light. So maybe down the road I might be looking at some of these with you guys and see how it goes. But we also got some other surprises on the side that we're going to be looking at, like
do.
Glenelgan and Tomatin, some other ones too. So stay tuned.
Sounds good, brother.
See you, man.
Be well. Take care.
Be well. See you guys.